Hello, and welcome once again to Family Historian. My name is Stephen Conti. Tonight we are going to explore the genealogical record sources of a very proud and a very strong people, the Friesians. And joining me on tonight's show, I am very honored to have as my guest a real live Frisian American. His name is Nathan Busker. Nathan is currently the minister of the Ponds Reformed Church in Oakland, New Jersey, and he has taken his Frisian ancestors all the way back to the year 1706. And on tonight's show, Nathan is going to teach us about the Frisians, where they come from, and of course, Frisian genealogy. And now let's welcome Reverend Nathan Busker. Nathan, welcome to my show.
Thank you very much, Stephen. It's great to be here and appreciate the invitation.
Great. You know, Nathan, I don't think the majority of Americans know much about the Frisian people or where they are from.
And neither did I.
Okay, but now you're learning and you have been there. Okay.
Yes.
So where is Frisia or Friesland, which is a province, not its own nation? It is a province.
Exactly. So we have this area broken up into different areas,
right,
in Northern Europe. Mm-hmm. So we find a province of like West Frisian, Friesland over in the Netherlands.
Right.
We have part of it is in Germany, East Friesland.
Right.
And then there's one just a little north of that, near Denmark.
North Friesland.
North Friesland, right.
And your wife is a West Frisian.
She's on the Dutch side.
Okay, and you are from the
east side and the German side.
Okay.
So we often joke about our ancestors probably gazed at each other long ago.
Right, right.
From each side.
Now we do have some maps here that show where Friesland is. As Nathan said, you have West Friesland, which is in the northern part of the Netherlands, and then East Friesland in Germany, and then the North Friesland in the very north of Germany.
Correct.
I see. And each of these provinces has a capital. Like, what is the capital of West Friesland? So
we have Leeuwarden, and then we have Emden,
right,
is the capital in East Friesland.
Right.
Yeah.
And these provinces will have their own flags.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Now, these were never countries on their own, were they?
No, they're always part of some larger, country, province,
right,
governmental entity.
Right, and these are provinces like New Jersey is a state in the USA.
Correct.
I see.
Yeah.
And they also have a very distinctive language. Can you tell us something about that language?
If you're in school and you need to learn a language that's closest to English, Fries is your language. It's the closest language to English, bearing a lot of similarities, and even words that if you hear them speaking in Fries, you'll think, oh, I think I know that word.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's somewhere between Dutch and English.
In English,
would you
that's
say
right.
that? Right.
Yep.
Okay. Now you are an Frisian. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So you're from the German part. All right. And I know that your great-great-grandfather, all of us are from somewhere else in America. Your great-great-grandpa, what was his name and when was he born?
So my great-great-grandfather was Jacob Pauls Uden Busker. He was born the 2nd of April, 1844.
And we have a photo of him. Yep. We have a picture of him. And he came to America around what time?
He came through Castle Gardens in 1865.
And what town did he come from in the old country?
From Petcombe.
Where you have been.
Where we have been. So
right.
Petcombe is just south of Emden.
Right. And we do have a copy of his original birth record from the year 1844, which we are going to show you, written in the Frisian language.
Yeah.
Or could it be in German as well? Or
I'm no authority, but and it's a little difficult to read the older language in the script, but I assume it would have been in Fries.
Yeah, and this is a church baptism record that you have here.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, when were you in Ostfriesland? When were you there?
So we were there in 2011, that I was a grant recipient for a funded sabbatical. And so part of the sabbatical was to learn our story. And so in 2011, my family and I, we spent 4 weeks traveling through Europe, but mostly in Germany, and we got to meet with our family. We found our family,
Right.
Who still lives there.
Right. And we do have photos of your ancestral church.
Right.
And what
Right.
was the name of that church?
St. Antonius Lutheran Church, right? After St. Anthony the Great from the 3rd century.
And so you went to visit this church.
We did. You know, because being a minister,
Right, right.
got to go to the church, which my kids at times were a little church tired, but
Right.
it was important to me.
And we also have a photo of Nathan at the actual font in the church where your
Right.
ancestors were baptized.
Right. Yeah. That was very important to me, and just a very, it was a special moment to think about. Here's this baptismal font, 800 years old, Stephen.
Yes, yes.
And massive. And just to think about my ancestors having been baptized in that same font, you know, throughout the years.
And how did that feel? How did that feel?
That made the trip for me. Just
Right.
that moment at the baptismal font in the church. Yeah.
And then meeting all of those cousins by the dozens.
That's right. That's right.
And we also have a photo of that
Yes.
with you and your cousins by the dozens.
They-
Did they know who you were?
No. So we were so grateful that for this stranger from America who would reach out to them and say, hey, I want to come meet you. They not only were willing, but they opened up their home, invited us for dinner. We had a wonderful time. And it happened in the home on the same ground as my ancestral farm.
Yeah.
Right
How,
there,
how
yeah.
on earth did you find them, Nathan? Did you do research here? How did you track these people down?
So it would sound great to say that, yep, I did all the hard research and I sweated it out. But in fact, because of the sabbatical being funded, I used some of the funding to actually hire someone in Germany who knew their way around to do some of the research. And they're the ones that also found which of my relatives were still living in Germany at
Right.
the time. And,
And
they
this-
helped connect us.
This genealogist took you back to the year 1706.
Yes.
But the Lutheran records go back much further, don't they?
They
Into
do.
the 1500s, you'd say?
They do, yeah. Yep.
Time of Luther.
Yeah. And you know, and after having taken a few years off from some of the genealogical research, you know, you've kind of reminded me of some of the joys of this, and how today with the internet, how accessible these records
Right.
can be. And so
Right.
I've been digging back in and finding that yeah, I'm into even going further back.
Right. Now, I know that you did bring with you some examples
Right.
of some Frisian records.
Yeah.
And we're going to show you what those are right now. If you could
Okay.
just look at those right
Yeah.
now. I think we have some
We do.
birth records there.
We have the birth record.
Yeah, if you could explain the first one to us. I'm
Yeah.
not asking you to translate, don't worry. Yeah, all right. And this is written in the
So-
Frisian language.
Yeah, and we have a boomsma, and those that those surnames that end in a sma, very Frisian.
Right, right.
And here we have from the 1740s of this birth record.
And these are all from these are parochial records, church records.
Correct,
I
yeah.
see. So
Yeah.
the church record is the one that will really take you back.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, how
Pretty
about
meticulous in
Yes.
keeping records.
All right, and then we have something else here. What kind of record is this?
We
now?
have a marriage record of a number of different people. So clearly this is from a church ledger in which they've just been entering the marriages one after another. It's very similar to what I do today.
Yes, yes.
I have my ledger, and I enter as the marriages come in, or the births, or the baptisms.
Right.
Yep.
And what is the religion of the Frisian people? What is the denominations?
Well, there's going to be two primary ones. Of course, my family in Petcombe, the church was Lutheran.
Right.
But some of my family in a different town, it was Reformed. So it was, what's the church in town?
Right.
So predominantly it's going to be Lutheran or Reformed.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So in other words, the church record is the one that will really take you back.
Yeah.
And the German Frisians and the Dutch Frisians were very meticulous record keepers.
That's right. That's right.
You would say so.
Yeah.
And I did mention in my intro that the Frisians were a very proud and a very strong people.
Now we would have said stubborn.
Okay, I was gonna say that, but I'll let you
That's
say
how
it.
I remember my
Okay.
grandfather and
Right.
my great-grandfather. They were very stubborn.
Right. I was going to wait for you to say it and not me, because I have known two Frisian people in my lifetime. In my younger days, in my school days, I lived in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and I roomed with a young man who has since become very famous, a famous actor, Hidde Maas. And I called him a Dutchman one day, which was a huge mistake. He said, "I am not Dutch, I am Frisian."
Yeah,
They make that very, very proud people, very proud, very blood proud people. And during the Second World War, they did not take any guff from the Nazis. They fought, and I think many Dutch children were evacuated to Friesland during the war when they had the bombings of the Netherlands.
Yes. And you even, if you go back even further in their history, and you'll find that the Fries resisted even conscription service. Just the way that the people were, by their government and the way that they ruled themselves, very independent.
Very independent, yeah. And when did they first appear on our shores? When was that big? I know your great-great-grandfather came here in 1865.
Right. Now, the Dutch were showing up in 1620
That's right,
here.
right.
But the Fries, I'm not exactly sure how much later they were starting to show up.
But there was a major migration.
Well, that's right. So that second migration that we start seeing in the mid-1800s, yes.
And they all wound up where? Where did they settle in this country?
So we see them in northern Illinois, Iowa, southern Wisconsin, right in that Midwest farming areas, Minnesota. That's where we find the Fries.
Right. Now, in Friesland, in either Emden or Leeuwarden, there are archives there where people can also do research.
Right.
And do you know to what extent the Mormon Church has microfilmed many Frisian records?
It's extensive. That's actually where I've been finding my latest kind of gold nuggets of research, has been through the Mormon archives.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is a site, it's called, this is for East Friesland and West Friesland. I think it's called East Friesland Gen, WIKI. And they will also give you a whole listing of where records are.
Right.
Is that correct?
Well, and there's the Frisian Genealogical Association.
Right, and we're going to talk about them right now.
Yeah.
You are a member of that.
I am.
All right, and they do have a very good book. Can you tell us what that book is?
Introduction to researching and to understanding your Fries ancestors. But they do more than just that book. They come out with a quarterly newsletter that is quite superb and very informative about culture, language, research, and not only understanding the research that of your ancestors, but understanding the culture today in Friesland.
And where are they located, Nathan?
So in Minnesota. And you can find them on the web at was it ogsa.us.
We'll hold that up to our
Okay,
viewers, right? And
good.
you've been a member for a very long time,
Well, just, a number of years.
and they have a newsletter that comes out.
They do. They do. It's a great newsletter. That's where I've been really kind of teaching myself through them more about the Fries culture and language that I missed out on. These were always the questions you never knew to ask
Right.
your grandparents or great-grandparents when they were still alive.
So let's get back to Friesland now.
Yeah.
It's really, these are provinces. Like the one in Holland Holland is a province of the Netherlands. We
Right.
say
That's
Holland,
right.
but it's
Yeah.
really a province.
Yes.
Because I lived in the Netherlands, and we used to say Holland a lot, but that is incorrect.
Correct, yeah.
There's a South Holland and a North Holland.
That's right.
And so there is a very big distinction there. And we did show you the flags of the
Of West Friesland, right, with the little hearts on it.
Right.
And then the flag of East Friesland.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of these areas, the East, West, and North, they all have a distinctive accent
Yeah.
or dialect
Yeah.
of the Frisian language.
Right.
And you don't understand any of it.
Zero.
You know a few words, though, right?
We appreciate the family, when we met them, they greeted us in Fries, say moin. And right, so maybe those are the few words, but I don't understand any of it.
But you, just before tonight's taping, you mentioned the word cheese.
Oh, yeah.
The Frisian word, and this will show you how close Frisian is to English.
And this is from my sister-in-law who went, and she was there as an exchange student, and we were talking about the similarities between English and Fries. And I said, well, give me an example. And she said, well, so in Dutch, the word for cheese is kaas. But she says in Fries, it's chis.
Which sounds like
Cheese.
very
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Nathan, what would you tell the beginning researcher who thinks he or she has Frisian roots? How should they begin this research? What's the first thing they should do?
In kind of reflecting on how I went about it,
Yes.
I think I would have joined up with this East Friesland Genealogical Society first. Because here's a group of people who are deeply committed and have gathered up lots of great resources. And I should have started there. And hence why I'm back there, because they have so much to offer. They've published a lot of books, publications, and they're willing to help. And then from there, once you have all that information, it's worth a trip.
Right. And what other sources could they use?
Well,
beside the
and besides Ancestry.com and these other resources that are on the internet, I did a little research, and like I mentioned earlier, found that person over there to do a little more digging. Because besides the things that we can all find on the internet, it was this researcher that found the members of my family that were still alive, where they were, contact information. That really brought it all home. That, wow, there was a connection beyond the paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything fell into place.
Well, and because I started to email these people.
Yes.
And just started to connect. Now, granted, the older members of the family didn't speak English, but their children did.
Yes.
And so I started emailing the children about the family. We started to connect. And then when we got together, we were able to sit and we looked at the big, genealogical.
How you were all connected.
That's right. And they're like, oh, well, this is your great-great-grandfather. Oh, that's where we connect in here.
Right.
Yeah.
And you took the family back to 1706.
Yeah.
Have you gone any further or wish to go further?
I do, only because my wife's family has gone even further back. So in a competitive spirit,
Right.
I'd like to see if I can go back even further.
How far back has she gone with the West Frisians? These are the Dutch Frisians.
Oh yeah, and they've gone back even further. Charlemagne.
Oh, okay, we're going way back
Oh
now.
yeah, oh yeah.
Right, right. I think there's one more record at the very bottom there,
Yeah.
and can you tell our viewers what this one is? And if you could explain it, I think it might be...
Yeah, so again, this is about a birth. Yeah, in the very early 1700s.
And it mentions the parents' names. If you could kind of dissect that for us.
Yeah, so we have right here, born in 1715. It mentions the parents' names. And of course, here it is, the husband with Cornelia, the wife, and the baptismal date here.
And you could, I bet you could get this same record from the Mormon Church, from the Family History Center on microfilm. You can get the same one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And can we look at another one of those? Maybe for the marriage records.
Yes.
If you have some there, I just want our viewers to see this one more time.
Yeah.
If you can dissect a few. Those are several marriages there.
That's right. So we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 marriages here, in which the good Domini was able to record. Yeah.
And what information will be on there? The bride and groom, of course.
Bride and groom, the date of their marriage. Yep. Yeah. A little for us, a little challenging because written in script of a different language.
That's right.
And think about how difficult it is for some of us who have lost the ability to write script in English. So you have a double challenge here.
Right.
Yeah.
Do the Frisians use the German Frisians? Do they use the Gothic print as the old Germans did? The Gothic calligraphy.
Yeah.
Have you seen that at all?
I
on
haven't.
records?
I haven't.
You haven't. It's all very, and this is not too difficult to read.
You know what? You spend a little time with it, and just like with anything else, you start to get familiar. You start to see what you need to see, the dates. You start to identify the key words: birth, baptism, marriage.
Right.
Father, mother.
You learn it by rote.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know.
And did your genealogist translate these for you?
Yeah.
He or she did.
Yeah.
Okay. And wrote them out in English,
which was so helpful, right? Because while I've spent a little time learning German, I don't know my Dutch, and I definitely don't know my Fries.
Well, you have to learn your Fries.
I'm going to have to.
I don't know where you could take a course in that. Yeah. Well, listen, this has been a wonderful interview with Reverend Nathan Busker, our Frisian American guest, on a very proud and a very strong and a stubborn people, as you say, the Friesians.
That's right.
I want to thank you for coming on Family Historian. Thank you so much.
Stephen, thank you very much.
And on that note, as I say all the time, we are all descendants of ancient civilizations. Genealogy is your key to the history of your family. And so until next time, this is Stephen Conti wishing you the very best of luck in your research, and above all, happy ancestor hunting. Good night.